Funny, isn't it?
What is?
All this. When we first started this thing, did you ever imagine we'd be going to Lenegis? After all, this is the sort of thing I was rebelling against when I ran away from home, right?
I'm sure Zephyr would be proud if he knew what his son was doing right now.
And a little shocked, too.
We're defying the order of things that have persisted for 300 years. Deep down, I knew our journey would lead to confronting Lenegis.
Yeah, you maybe, but you're a Renin. The rest of us can barely even picture what it means to leave Dana.
No offense to Xion and Dohalim, but it's worth remembering we're heading into enemy territory.
No offense taken, and this is no picnic for me either.
Remember, our aim is to ensure that both Lenegis and the Renin homeworld leave Dana alone for good. I don't think we'll be able to avoid a fight.
There's no way we can talk them into leaving us alone?
The people of Lenegis?
Sure. I mean, we found a way to make it work with Xion and Dohalim, right? And it's not just us. If places like Menancia can do it, then why can't we?
Because there are still many of my kind who believe it was right and natural that Rena reigns over Dana. There are those on Lenegis who have never stepped foot on Dana. I doubt whether they'd even listen to Danans.
Look, none of us want to fight. But these are the same people who fired that wedge down on Dana. What happens next is on them.
Right. We're not going to sit back and wait for them to oppress us again.
Right.
Don't forget, there's also a good chance the Red Woman is somewhere on Lenegis. And wherever she is, we should find the Renaissance too.
That's right. If we can take it back, then Xion can finally get rid of her thorns. Xion?
Huh? Yeah.
Where? Xion? Where'd Xion go? How could she just go off on her... Xion. Xion! It's your thorns? But why? You okay? Just now, it looked like you used your maiden powers to suppress your thorns. You can really do that?
Stay out of my way.
Wait a second. Are you planning to go alone?
Shut up!
Why would you do this?
I told you to shut up!
I won't let you.
I mean it.
I refuse to let you.
I won't tell you again. Move or I'll shoot.
If that's the case, then go ahead and shoot me!
Do you remember back when I was stabbed? By Volron?
Yeah. I thought for sure that he had killed you back there.
That wasn't the first time. The first time was when I was only a child. After that, no matter how often, I just couldn't die.
Couldn't die? So you're immortal? How's that even...
I believe you, Shion. But tell me how is something like that possible?
My thorns. They're me, but at the same time not. They're part of me. I have no idea why, but my thorns will never let me die. At least not before I'm meant to.
You can't die before your death?
When my thorns free themselves, it will be my death. I've seen it. A darkness that swallows up everything until nothing remains. It's a vision of oblivion I can't escape. I want to believe it's all just a bad dream. But no matter what I tell myself, I know it's not.
Yeah, but you... Wait. The whole reason you needed the Renaissance was to get rid of your thorns, right?
If I burn away what's inside, then what will happen to the rest of me? Right. Either way you look at it, I'm going to die. But if I am going to die, I figure I can at least take my thorns out with me. That's what I've been after this whole time.
That's why you turned your back on your fellow Renans and chose to fight with us, isn't it? And while we've all been fighting to keep on living, you have been with us fighting desperately to die.
That was the plan. But then I met all of you. And before I knew it, I didn't want to die anymore.
Shion, don't lose hope yet. We'll find a way to save you. There's still time to.
It's pointless.
Why?
Because the darkness won't just consume me. The truth is, it will consume all of existence as well. It was only a suspicion at first, but ever since the Red Woman triggered my maiden powers, I've been more certain than ever before. It was then that I finally came to realize my powers were holding my thorns in check the entire time. But they don't anymore. Not since Lenegis, when the wedge fell. Every day, I feel the thorn's power growing stronger inside of me. Pretty soon, I won't be able to hold them back anymore. And when that happens...
They will consume all existence.
And that's why you wanted to leave by yourself. You planned to find the Renaissance on your own and sacrifice yourself to stop the thorns.
But that's... too much. It's way too much.
When this all began, I didn't care what happened to me or anyone else. And what happened to the Renans or the Danans didn't matter to me at all. I know I have to die, but I don't want to. Not now that I have this. I wish we had never met. Then I wouldn't have to feel this way.
Shion!
Help it.
Only living for the sake of dying. is no better than being a slave. How can you endure this?
Alvin.
It's not fair. I don't care what anybody says. I won't let it happen! We can fight this! Fight until the end together. Isn't that what you said to me before?
Even if it should mean that it'll be the end of everything else, too?
Shion, what do you want? It's your decision, ultimately. But if you decide not to fight fate, I will. Even if I have to do it alone.
No, you won't be alone. I'll fight as well.
Count me in as well. I want to be a force for good, not hate.
And me too. I meant it with all of my heart when I told you before. Neither of you are alone in this at all.
You guys...
And I, for one, don't believe this venture is without hope.
Huh?
Shion is the descendant of a maiden from 300 years ago. Given the circumstances, it seems very likely that those events have some connection to her thorns. The true nature of which, I imagine we will discover as we make our way to Lenegis and uncover the truth of what's unfolding here.
I take it you mean we might find a way to get rid of her thorns and she'll live?
It's certainly possible. Though I suspect the nature of the Sovereign is connected somehow.
So be it. I've already lost everything I had once. And I won't let it happen again. Shion. No matter what happens from now on, we're right here with you. All of us are. You are not alone.
You guys. You're all so stubborn. Thank you, everyone. For right now, and a little while longer, I just want to hold on to this dream. And most of all, more than anything else, I want to be with all of you. So let's go. On to Lenegis.
The end of the world. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I believe Shion is telling the truth. What about you?
As a friend, yes, I want to believe her. Everything that's happened seems to point towards some sort of great danger that's lurking ahead of us. Still, it's hard to fathom something that could usher outright doom to the world. That those really are the stakes we face.
No, I understand. Even Shion doesn't seem to know exactly what will happen to bring it all about.
We have so many pieces of the puzzle in our hands, so many clues, yet the complete picture eludes us.
So where do her thorns fit in, then?
Well, I imagine they must sit at the very center of it all. You remember the voice we all heard while we were inside the wedge, don't you?
Yeah, I remember. It was the will of Dana's astral energy come to life. Well, that's what we all thought.
Right. And from that, we're able to hypothesize how vast concentrations of astral energy can become sentient. Let's return to when we found Shion in Pelagian. When her thorns went wild, They contained far more astral energy than any mere Renin would normally have inside them.
So you think those thorns might be alive too? That their will is what keeps her from dying? But why would they want to destroy the entire world?
As for that, I really cannot say for certain. Its goals still remain a mystery. It may be a mere fluke that her maiden powers have been able to contain it thus far.
You know, I've noticed since we've met that you like figuring out riddles.
Can you blame me? When one realizes that the world they once thought to be true is but a mere facade, they can't help but seek the truth. Especially when that deception has led to others getting hurt.
Dohalim?
I imagine the remaining pieces of the puzzle that we seek rest somewhere within Lenegis. As for what the final picture will look like, who can say? I think it's best we not dwell on it too much for the time being.
Right.
Didn't you?
Oh, that? That was nothing.
Compared to what Shion's going through, you mean? Still, even if you yourself might be willing to endure that kind of pain, that doesn't mean Shion wants to have to see you get hurt by her thorns, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'll be careful.
Shion doesn't know how lucky she is to have you around, you know? Dashing in to save her at the last minute.
Yeah, very funny.
I'm being serious. You went up and held her close like you still had that mask on, and you didn't even bat an eye. She really needed that. That's what I mean when I said you saved her. Just like you did with the rest of us.
I just want for Shion what we all have. The ability to touch someone without the fear of killing them. Those thorns have robbed her of the kind of everyday things we all take for granted. And it's not right.
You can say that again. It may be normal for us, but that doesn't make it any less special or important for her. I hope she gets what she wants. I have my own dreams, but a world without her, where she dies so we can all survive, isn't a world I want to live in.
Agreed. It's like more and more keeps getting taken from her, and I'm done with it. Can't sleep?
After everything we just heard? How could I?
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal with so much on her own. Even when we were all laughing and celebrating, she just kept quiet and didn't say anything. I thought she was keeping her distance because of her thorns. That it was because she didn't want to hurt anybody by getting too close. I just figured that that was the type of person she was, you know? But it turned out to be none of that. All this time, she felt like she had to die and sacrifice herself for the greater good. But even then, she didn't think she could say anything to us about it.
I know.
She was so alone this entire time. How could I call her a friend and yet be so completely blind to everything she was going through?
I'm sure it made her happy, knowing you were there for her.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do. If she didn't think of us as friends, I don't think she could have ever opened up to us like that. You were a good friend to her before, and you'll be an even better one now.
Yeah, I really hope so. I want to be the best I can for her. When you think about it, we were all alone in our own way. But over time, we've all found ways to let each other into our lives. I hope Shion's able to do that one day too. No, I mean, I hope she's able to do that more. Lots and lots more. I think it'd be really nice if we could all just be there to support each other when it really counts. And forget about our grudges and pain.
Rinwell.
Did you know?
You mean about Shion?
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. I mean, every once in a while I thought something seemed a little off, but I never could have imagined. It's like a completely different world was spinning around me and I couldn't even see it.
You and me both. I mean, I knew something was bothering her, but I could never quite figure out what it was.
You? But you're the one always looking out for her, aren't you?
That's what I thought. But in reality, I didn't understand it all. What I thought was helping and being there for her was actually just driving her into a corner.
At least you figured it out in time, though, right?
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But yeah, you're right. We brought her back from the edge, and we're going to stop those thorns from taking her. No matter what.
Yeah, with all of us together, there's nothing we can't handle. Shion, the world, we can save everyone. And I mean it when I say we, Alphen.
I know. No lone wolfing it.
Hey, you're the expert on what my dad would say. Do you think he'd pat me on the back or tell me off?
Zephyr, I don't think that he'd have that much to say, to be honest. You're your own man now, Law. And you've already made up your own mind about what you want.
I guess he couldn't say anything even if he wanted to.
Law.
Sorry. I guess those of us amongst the living have enough problems to deal with, don't we? We'll need all our strength to save Shion. I'll probably end up worrying again at some point, but I guess I'll think it over more then. That okay?
Yeah, I think it is. Hey, you doing all right?
I seem to cause nothing but worry. As much as I try to look like I have things under control, everyone still worries about me.
You're not the only one.
Hey, do you remember the first time you said I was your friend?
No? When was that? Sorry, I can't remember.
That's okay. It came so naturally to you, I'm not surprised you forgot. I was different back then. The Danans were not even people to me, and I knew I would always be alone. But in that room with Deadheim, when you called me your friend, it just shattered the wall that I'd built up around me. Because until that moment, I'd only seen you as a means to an end. I thought of you as a way to use the blazing sword, and to obtain the Renis Alma. But after that day, one time became two, and before I knew it, you'd made a habit of calling me and Dohalim your friends. It didn't matter that we were Renans. You cared about us as you would any other people. Then, everyone else started to call me their friend too. To think of me as their friend. Before then, I never even dreamed I could have that. I didn't want to die and lose you all. But I also didn't want to live if it meant you would all die in my place.
Shion.
But then, I realized I'd only really been thinking of myself that entire time. After saying how I felt, and hearing what you all had to say, I finally understood that. Don't worry, it's okay. I'm not planning on dying anymore. I've met too many people along the way who I truly care about to give in now. So I'll fight. For Dana and for myself. I'll fight against my fate to preserve our future. And I'll win, come hell or high water. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I won't let the world end because of me.
It's going to be a long, hard road ahead, Shion. Our fight won't be over until everyone, both Danans and Renans, can finally live in peace. But I swear I'll be there with you, until the very end.
Thank you.
Remember what we learned back in Calaglia? There's no wall so high that we can't break it down.
Yeah, I think you may be right about that.
Everyone well rested? Then let's go. We depart for Lenegis.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that! You're going to jinx us!
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
I like it. Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? All right, then let's go.
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything okay, Shion? You seem a little different.
Different. We'll be...
Is everyone about ready? We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenegis.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dana. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renin ladder is considered superior to being a Danan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shion?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Lost blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this red woman, are we expecting to find her on Lenegis?
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelegion.
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That red woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion, we'll find them. There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the Sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a Sovereign in our midst. In any case, Changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone.
Think.
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden...
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself. Okay, Do?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dana.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here that the wedge originally came from.
We need... The Danans among us should probably...
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
You. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
Now this unexpected visit? The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. Has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in...
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Everything will be okay now.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time. Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renin, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed...
I didn't...
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renin homeworld.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renin...
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much.
I wonder what they'd think if they were Balsif, Ganabelt, Almadria. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to...
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow.
I know. But seeing Renins in their own...
It feels strange to imagine the lords living...
Yeah.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquire? Every lord in their household has their share of support, and luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on...
Tell me...
Yeah!
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one...
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them, too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
What?
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Pardon.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it.
Ritvoka!
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganath Haros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renins are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think...
What's this thing? there's something...
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
What's this thing?
Wow, this place is beautiful!
Yeah. It must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't they?
It
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnagan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnagan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen,
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Looks perfect and...
Damn it! Lenegis soldiers!
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Ho! I am Lord Dohalim of Elda Menucia. I command you.
Threats to the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they got one.
Being interrupted.
It's almost too strong.
Split it open!
Be my guest. Demon Thrust! I'm ready! All yours, Kisara.
I'm out of ammo!
Sword Rain Alpha! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! The flame inside me yearns to be let free! Try this!
Dance in the wind!
Running Flash!
Resonate with... I'm ready!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Resonate with the earth!
Stop! Burn!
On your...
Sword Rain Alpha! Try this!
Shattering the pieces! Attack time!
Try this! Like steel?
Do it!
All yours, Kisara.
Glacial
No,
They smite with blackened blade!
Execution! Castle! Rising Phoenix!
Now!
Totally! In an instant! Impact block!
Those soul...
No choice! Sword Rain Alpha!
In a vine?
Here's evil! Blaze Lancer!
Sword Rain Alpha!
These ones can run rings around us!
Blended Flash! I owe you.
Take this!
Radiant Block!
Armor won't save you!
Grind and wrench!
Damn it! It's too fast!
Stand back. I'll trip it up.
Here's a healing art!
Sword Rain Alpha!
That'll bring you down!
Not yet!
Hey! Blow them away!
Will this help?
Not a chance!
Not on my watch!
Begin!
Lightning! Still
Sorry,
wall!
trouble.
Annihilation!
Eternal Devastation! Double Demon Fang!
Razor Spear!
Eternal Torrent!
Can't get out of this!
Sword Rain Alpha! Blended Flash!
Razor Spear! Now!
Totally! In an instant! Impact block!
My turn!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Ready to go! Mega Red!
Thanks! Eagle Ray!
Radiant Pierce!
This one's all...
I can carve through armor!
Impact block! Try this!
Catapult!
Commander of Heaven!
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright light.
Sword Rain Alpha! Try this! Sword Rain Alpha! Dragon Swarm!
Holy
Demon Fang!
Ready to go! First aid! Weak now. Radiant Warrior!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Begin now! Will this help?
Sword Rain Alpha!
Hitting pile driver! Diversity is said to be the best motivation.
Will this help? Illuminate the dark!
Coming!
Behold! The Earth pulse! Tectonic vision!
I'll heal you all!
Now or never. Can't get out of this!
Here are disasters day one! Come
your
for
death.
it! Purity!
Try this!
Nail! Steering split! Let the marksman handle this!
Rising Wonders!
Glacial Raging Cascade! Evil! In here! Freeze Laser! I'll be saving this
Luna
one!
Rondo!
More with that
Ignite!
That'll bring you down!
I'll grind you into dust!
Swallow Blade!
Crescent Flash!
Here's a healing
Dragon
item!
Fang!
Supernova! Dance in the wind!
I can carve through armor!
Weak now! Down bubble!
Dragon Swarm! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Benediction light.
Illuminate the
Now
dark!
or never.
Come for her!
Another
Holy
incantation
land!
ruined.
I can do this all day! Radiant light! I'm all stopped up!
Benediction light.
Radiant light!
Sword Rain Alpha!
In a bind?
Reload!
Dragon Swarm!
Mega ripple!
I can't take much more. It's in your hands now.
Reload!
Stay away from my friends!
I'll bring you back from death's
Burn in
abyss!
hell!
Lightning condemned!
Sword Rain Alpha!
A chain between heaven and earth!
My pride.
Be
A
still!
wailing banshee of lightning!
Any more of this and I'll burn out.
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! Here, let me help. First aid!
Anything in armor is all. A charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop. Out of ammo! Here's a healing arm! Lightning orb! Raging cascade! I never miss! I'll be
It
saving
appears
this
the
one.
end is nigh.
I'll heal you all!
I am not beyond fury.
Heal! You get the gist! Tidal wave! Raging cascade! Glacial spear! Here's evil! In here!
Behold! The Earth pulse! Tectonic vision!
I'll heal you all! Raging cascade!
Our arms are being interrupted.
Sword Rain Alpha!
Raging cascade! Here's a healing arm! Sealed! First aid!
Leave the poisons to me! No further!
Here goes! Think ahead! Annihilation! Everyone, get back! It's too dangerous! I'll take it from here. Let's see how you handle this! Deus Roar!
Benediction light.
Ignite!
First aid! Violent guarding wind. Carve now through
Sword Rain
all!
Alpha!
Fear and
I'm ready! Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
They really made us work for that one.